Hey everyone, this is Corine Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host and favorite girl, of course. Broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And you know how we do it here on Between the Lines, always with gratitude and thankfulness. And I'm thankful to be here. It's a beautiful day in Trinidad and Tobago. It's sunny. It was raining for the past few days and weeks. So I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for the rain as well. Either way, I'm thankful. And I'm glad to have with me Chris Miles. He's a guest on my show. And we're talking a favorite topic of everyone: money. Money, 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 money. I'm hearing myself echoing. So, Chris, I need you to mute yourself temporarily until you come on. Yeah? Thank you so much. So, let me tell you a bit about what we're talking about today. And we're talking about my conversation with money. Okay, people, my conversation with money. Let me tell you a bit about Chris. So, Chris Miles is an or some people say anti financial advisor, teaches entrepreneurs and professionals how to get their money working for them today. He's an author, podcast host of the Chris Miles Money Show, has been featured in US News, CNN Money, Entrepreneurs on Fire, of course, with my favorite guy, and many more. With his company Money Ripples, his personal clients have increased their cash flow by 300 million in the last 12 years. And as I said, 12 years, it reminds me of the movie 12 Years a Slave. Yes, 12 years. All right. So welcome, Chris, to Between the Lines.
It's a pleasure to be here, Corinne.
It's good to have you. So you're a podcaster, I'm a podcaster. So we know how this goes. But today you're a guest. Okay. And I
Yep.
don't know if you've looked at my other episodes, but I asked some really interesting questions. And I don't have, any structured format. It's based on what you say. But today we're talking about my conversation. And I personalize it so that when people read it, it's theirs, my conversation with money. Now, there are a lot of gurus out there who proclaim that they can do so many things for people when it comes to money. There are people who spend money behind the lottery, and all those other fast money things. And when they do win the lottery, or even for athletes who have gotten a lot of money, Olympians, somehow the money doesn't stay in their hands. And so we need to dig into these things. Why is it that the money doesn't stay with them, or that they are not able to invest? Invest is not the word I want to say, but that money doesn't become more. Yes?
Absolutely.
Right? Now, it's a mindset to me, which is why I'm saying my conversation. What's your relationship with money? What's our relationship with money? Okay? Because you could teach me how to get plenty money. Okay? You could teach businesses, anybody, how to get a lot of money. Your company is Money Ripples, and we're going to check that out a little bit later in the show. And that's fine. But it's how do I keep it? And it has to do with a deeper issue than just getting the money. Anybody can get money, please. Anybody could get money. You tell them what to do, they follow it step by step, they get the money. But it's a mindset. Because if you have a mindset of lack or limiting beliefs, or like how we have all been brought up about money, it's not good. And like I was listening to something yesterday, it reminded me money don't grow on trees, but trees make paper. So money does grow on trees. Okay, all these limiting beliefs. Money don't grow on trees. Of course, money grows on trees. It's from the trees you get the paper to make the money. Okay? So what is the conversation that we need to have with money?
The biggest conversation I've seen that really needs to happen is first and foremost, one, don't have a bunch of shame around it. Don't blame yourself for not knowing, because the truth is that we're just not taught to learn these things really well. We're raised by parents that feel the same way. I know my own father, both my parents, really. Both of them were hardworking people. They meant well. They often would say things like they can't afford it, or, hey, money doesn't grow on trees, all those kind of things, or, all that kind of limiting beliefs that I was raised in.
Mhm.
In fact, that's why I took the journey I did as I became an adult. I wanted to know about money more. I first was going into business. I was the first one in my family to go to college. But while I was doing that, I realized I need real life experience. And that's when the opportunity came for me to go into the financial industry. I actually became that mainstream financial advisor, and I started doing that, and I actually enjoyed being an entrepreneur. I enjoyed being a financial advisor. But I'll tell you, it's what's interesting is that they were teaching me the same things that my dad taught me. They really weren't teaching anything new. I mean, yes, they were teaching about different investments like mutual funds and things like that. So I knew more about products, right?
Right.
But they really didn't teach me about wealth.
Mm.
That didn't happen for me until about 2006. I decided to call up one of my friends. He used to be a financial advisor with me. He left to go do real estate investing. So I thought, let's just see how he's doing today. And I figured maybe he's gone broke by now and he wants to come back and work for me. That wasn't the case. And it was the actual opposite. When I asked him how he's doing, he said, Chris, my life is awesome. My dad and I, we've doubled his income as a professor at the local university,
I
just
can't
doing some of
believe
these
you,
things we've
Chris. You
done.
were hoping that things were bad with him. Can you imagine that? Mm.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, total shocker. And in fact, it started a little debate because then my ego was getting hurt, right? So I started saying,
Oh.
well, stocks are better than real estate. Real estate's not that good. It's risky. You shouldn't
Mm.
do that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And he finally stopped me. He said, Chris, how many of your clients are truly financially free where they don't worry about money? And as I thought about it, I thought, well, even the retired ones still worried about running out of money. I said, well, none. He said, okay, good job. How about this? How many of you guys, as financial advisors, are financially free, not off the commissions you're earning by selling these investments that haven't worked so far, but actually doing these investments? How many of you guys are financially free from the investments, not from the business that you're getting? And as I thought about it, I realized there was guys working in my office since the late 1970s. They had been there for 30 plus years, and yet they couldn't retire themselves. And he said, there's your problem. And I said, well, give me the answer. He said, I won't give you the answer. You just got to argue
You
with me
want it
that
too
stocks
easy,
were
Chris.
better.
No, no, no. You want it too easy. Give me the answer. No. You
Nope,
have to
nope.
discover the answer.
That's right. And so he did eventually give me some clues, right, to start to see if I would take action. And so I started listening to a local radio show that was here in Utah. I got
Chris, you're stuck on me. Chris froze up on me. So in the meantime, until he comes back and join us, something is happening there. Let me continue talking. I hope you're still hearing me and that I am not frozen as well, because he may see me as frozen. Yeah. But let me come here so and focus on me until Chris is able to be unfrozen. So we're having a conversation about my conversation with
back.
money. Oh, Chris, you're
There you
back.
go. I'm back.
Yes, Chris, you're back. I was just saying to persons, continuing the conversation when I realized you were frozen. But the
Yeah.
thing about it, Chris, is that, we're talking about the conversation that we have with money. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, I want to get to the deeper issues, those limiting beliefs. What do we need to say to ourselves? Okay, so from understanding a little bit about you, you retired twice
Hmm.
at 39. No, that's like kapow in people's heads. That's unbelievable.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we're not even going there today. There are people who the retirement age, I think, is like about 60, 65, depending if you're male or female. But there are people still having to work beyond that.
Hmm.
Okay, the pandemic threw a lot of things off. Nobody wants to be, we had what do they call it, the great resignation. Nobody wants to go back out to work. They have looked at their life differently now. What really matters, I don't even think money matters to people here right now. It's about the quality of their life, but yet you
Hmm.
need money every day to have a pretty reasonable quality of life.
That's right.
However, we need to hit on that mindset of the conversation that we have with money. Like you say, it's not about products. Anybody could learn about products, the services, the investment tools, whatever they call it, portfolio, whatever they call it. But the thing about it is, how do you deal with the mind? Because
Hmm.
it starts all here. It starts here first, and then, as I would use your words, ripple through the rest of your system.
That's
Okay,
right.
and then manifest itself. So what, okay, let's pretend that money is in this conversation here with us.
Hmm.
It's in another view. Money is sitting with us here today.
Hmm.
What is the conversation we need to have with him, her, or it, however we want to identify money? What is that conversation? Hi, money. How you doing? Let's start.
Well, you need to look at money like a friend, right? You really do. The problem is, and then just this was the problem I had growing up, being raised as I was, being a financial advisor. I was taught that money was always scarce. It was hard to come by. It was something that is almost mythical. It's
Mm,
almost
can't
mysterious.
reach
It
it.
seems
You could never reach it.
exactly. It's elusive, right?
Mm,
Very hard to get. And and that belief, just like you said before, you said, people aren't even worried about, being able to retire. Well, the truth is, it's actually easier than you think it is. But when our minds are programmed to think traditionally, it's like, oh, well, I gotta scrimp and save. If I have anything left to save, especially with
mm,
inflation going on and everything
mhm.
else, I just can't get enough of the money to ever even worry about having any freedom in the future. And if you believe that to be true, that will be truth for you.
How
It
do we
will, you
reverse
will,
that?
I'm
How do
sorry?
we reverse that? How do we reverse that sort of thinking?
You have to kind of go from a place of, I like to think of it like punctuation, right? There's periods, exclamation points, question marks.
We're going into English here, Chris. Go ahead.
I know. I know. Don't worry, that's the extent of my English right there. Um, I speak American. I don't speak English. But so many times people will either put a period or an exclamation point behind their beliefs about money, like I can't afford it, period, right? They never put a question mark about how can I afford it,
I like
or how
that.
could I create that, or
Mm,
why not me? That's another question I had to ask myself in
I
the
love
beginning,
that.
was if the other people are doing it, why not me? Because I'll tell
And
you,
why
there are
not you? Why not you, Chris?
exactly.
What are the things that we say to ourselves that make us believe it's why not us?
Yeah, I think it's because we think we're nobody special, right? And in fact, we think we have to be almost superhuman to create something great. Either here's the belief, here's a scarcity belief about money that many people will say is that
Mm.
either you have to get lucky, like you mentioned, winning the lottery, or two, you have to exploit somebody else to get more money from them. And we've grown up in this civilization believing that's luck or exploitation, which is why many people will vote the way they do and think that governments need to crack down on big business, right? That's what happened to Venezuela. They blame big business, and now look at Venezuela, right? They have no business. They have
But
no
here's the
economy.
thing. Here's the
They're
thing, Chris.
crumbling.
Even though we do luck, even though we do the luck business, even though I don't believe in luck, or exploitation, or blame the government, everything is external. All of
That's
that
right.
is external to us, is not internal. So even if you get it, you exploit somebody, you get it. The government do whatever, you get it. You win the lotto, you get it. But you
Mhm.
still have to deal with the internal.
That's
Because
right.
it's the internal that's fighting that same money that you have. Oh, I have a lot of money. I don't deserve this. I can't
Yep.
keep it. It doesn't stay in my hands.
Hmm.
You still have that struggle, that battle that's happening within you. So I'm like, let's deal from the inside out. Stop looking at the outside for a reason and an excuse
Yep.
to get the money. If you work from the inside, the money is going to come to you.
Yeah. That's right. Most people believe it is external, that something has to happen to me or
Mm,
for me for it to work out, rather
mm,
than saying, wait a minute, I can create all of this. Anything can happen that way. Money
mhm,
is really just a magnifier of your soul, right? It only makes us more of who we already are.
mm.
And what happens though, is just like you mentioned, when somebody wins the lottery, if they believe that money is easy come, easy go, guess what? When they win the lottery, it's gonna come in fast and easy. It's gonna go fast and
Fast
easy.
and easy.
Uh-huh. You
Yes.
got it.
But
It's
I like how you had the questions before where you turn it around with the
yeah,
period and the punctuation. That's really, really cool. I like that.
it's
Instead of
important.
just putting a period at the end, a full stop at the end, and making it seem like it's a statement. It's
Hmm.
done. You have a
Yep,
question which forces you to start digging a little bit deeper. Why not me? What
that's right.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
creates options or opportunity, right? It creates possibility where
Mm,
most people will close that door of possibility because they believe, nope, this is just the way life is. I just have
mm.
to survive and die. Yeah, I remember growing up, my dad would say the same thing. Even though he would save, he paid off his house early. He did the perfect according to financial advisors and people,
Yeah.
the pundits like Dave Ramsey, he did
Mm-hmm.
everything right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yet he still said, you know what? I'm going to have to work until I'm dead. And he just about did.
I,
He created that reality.
the life that we're moving to, well, I don't know about anybody else, but I know about me. I want to live a particular type of life. And I know when I say this, a lot of people might feel, ooh, as airy fairy, or they would want that for themselves, or they have been thinking, but they don't believe. The limiting beliefs comes in. So the life that I want, let's say I work for 2 weeks and I travel for 2 weeks every month. No. When I say I work for 2 weeks, like I had this conversation with someone yesterday, it doesn't mean necessarily in a job. Because if you like what you do, you don't consider it a job. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you're working for someone, if you like it doesn't feel like a job. So
Mhm.
2 weeks, and that 2 weeks is not necessarily sequential, like week one, like a calendar month. A 2 week time period out of a month, and I'm traveling for the next. So every month I'm traveling somewhere.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, while I'm working, I could be working on a beach. I could be in a Starbucks. I could be wherever and working,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to have that sort of life, that sort of flexibility, freedom, where my money is not me working for the money because it makes me the slave
Mhm.
to the money, which is another thing. You have to work for your money. You have to work hard. This is what is another thing. You have to work hard for money. So I'm like, I'm a slave to money, which is why when I read
Uh-huh.
your bio and it says 12 years, I'm like, 12 years a slave, because
Mhm.
you're a slave. The mentality is one of a slave to the money when money is actually supposed to be the slave to you, to work for you. So, how do we get into that mindset, that conversation with money, who is here with us, to say, hey, it's not me working for you, sweetie. You're supposed to work for me, and this is what I want you to do. This is
Mhm.
what I need to do in order for you to do your part, because it's a reciprocal relationship. How does
Yep.
that happen?
You have to trust in true principles, eternal principles that never stop working, right? And sometimes it just takes practice to get used to it, to see that evidence works in your life. I would say, even while you're doing that beforehand, this is kind of like a half step before, is surround yourself by those that have more abundant voices, those that actually think and talk like we're talking right now. We're talking about creating
Ah,
possibility. And that means watching like podcasts like this, or listen to audiobooks. It doesn't mean you have to fire all your friends, your family, although that might happen to
I
some
think that's a
level.
good idea. Fire them.
Yeah, for some people, you may need to. They
Yeah,
may not
yeah.
be, they may be dragging you down. They might be keeping
Mm.
you in that
Yes,
in that that trap, right? And
yes.
you will have the life that they have too. And you have to really understand. Now, many people say, "Yeah, but I can't afford to find those people," or "How do I get those people who want to be around me?" Become that person, right? And I'm not saying become them like be a copycat. I don't mean that, but
Mm,
just like you're already saying, is you become what you think, right? Thinking always starts to change behavior.
that's
Behavior starts to
right.
change the actions, and then the actions change the results.
Mm,
And so as you start to become abundant, not just think abundant, although that's the start, but you start to become it, internalize it deeply into
mm,
yourself, then it becomes
mm.
easier. So let me give you an
Yes.
example for
Mm,
myself. Like when
yes.
I started to really learn about abundance and scarcity, I didn't know the difference. I didn't know there was such a thing. Even as a
Wow.
financial advisor, I didn't realize I was trained in scarcity. Everything was about scarcity.
Wow.
But when I started to be around those that were wealthy or creating wealth for themselves and creating different possibilities in their life, it was a very different conversation. For example, they never wanted to be victims. In fact, if they ever found somebody getting into a little whiny story, they're like, "Oh, do you need a hug?"
Hell no.
Yeah,
Hell no.
just like, would that make you feel better? Do you need a hug? They're trying to like wake you up, like, hey, listen, snap out of it. Okay, that's great, vent, but then let's lead to something of a solution. Another one for me about money specifically that changed my world was when they kept reiterating over and over, dollars follow value created. And I thought, well,
Oh,
what does
good.
that mean? And they
Mm-hmm.
said, listen, it's cause and effect. Value has to come first in order to receive money. Money is just evidence of value that you've either given or you're about to give. It's
Right.
something that you're giving a value. I mean, you think about it, it doesn't take money to make money. That's a common falsehood
Mm,
out there now, right? A common
mm-hmm.
false belief that you have to have money to make money. Well, if that were the case, how did we ever survive high school and college into young adulthood? We didn't have money to start with. How did we do it? We had, even if it was a job, we went to an employer, said, here's the value I'm willing to offer, and I'm willing to give this in exchange for a paycheck. And
Mm-hmm.
if we said, great, I'll take that paycheck, that meant we believed our time, was worth less
Was
than that
worth
paycheck,
that.
right?
But let's extend that a little bit. It also speaks to the value of you. It comes back again to that internal perspective. How do you
Yeah.
value yourself? And it
Yes,
comes back to what you were saying. It's that other person to make it, but not you. But then
that's
what
right.
makes that person special and not you?
That's right. Well, and that's what it was for me. I was one of those people. I still do. I have a very servant heart, right? I want to serve people. I want to help everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember as a financial advisor, I was also a mortgage broker. So I was mortgage licensed. And when people would come to me and I would say, listen, if you use my business, if you use me, I'll cut my origination fee from the standard 1% that everybody else charges. I'll do it for a 0.5%,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting. The people that came to me and I said, hey, I'll make it a 0.5%. I'll cut you a big break. And that means you pay less money for closing costs. Well, those people would still shop me around and often go somewhere else. When I came more from an abundant perspective, instead of asking how to be cheap, instead said, well, how can I give the most value I can? I
Mm-hmm.
started charging the standard 1% and just focusing on value. The ironic thing is, even though those people paid double the cost, which is the standard, even
Mm-hmm.
though they paid double what I was charging,
Mm-hmm.
they were happier. And not only were they happier, but they sent referrals. My business blew
Wow.
up more because I wasn't coming from a place of scarcity and trying to minimize myself and my value. Because
I
naturally,
love
if you're the
that.
cheapest person, people would say, yeah, but I'm going to probably get what I pay for. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
half price, I'm probably going to get half the value. Why not go for at least average value, which is
Mm-hmm.
1%?
Yeah.
And I didn't catch that. I thought that somehow people just shop based on price because in scarcity, you shop on price, not on value.
You
So,
know, Chris,
uh-huh.
Chris, that is a significant thing because, and you know, there are people who would want the cheap way. There are a group of people like that. So they have their market. But it's about value in the client or customer's eyes. It's how they see themselves.
Yes,
I am deserving of this and I am willing to pay that.
that's
Okay?
right.
I am deserving of this and I'm willing to pay that. I see value in me and I'm not going to undercut or try to belittle who I am as well as the other person. You know, there's something that I say to people. I see people as kings and queens.
Mhm.
That is how I see people. When I'm interacting, whatever relationship, I see you up there. Is what you do that makes you come down the notch. So I
Yeah.
have you all the way up here, you know.
Mhm.
I'm not judging anybody and have them here. They have to earn their way up. You're up
Yes,
here for me, but it's what you do that brings you down a notch. So,
that's
so
right.
you know that's how all my relationships are. So I value people because I value myself that way. I see myself as a queen.
Yep. That
Okay.
was that was that was actually the secret to how I was able to retire that first time. And it was shocking. I didn't expect to do it as quickly as I did.
Wow.
But remember, I was trying to come out of scarcity. I was learning, about really. I was hyper focusing on how do I create a win-win for people? How do I create something that's of value for them? And I
Mm,
was looking at for in all places. It wasn't not even just ways I make money, even just in regular human interactions. Hey, what can I do to serve this person right now? Is there a
mm,
problem they need solved or a question? Can I help them out? Can I
mm.
connect them with somebody? Can I give them information? Right?
Right.
I was focused on that. And what happened naturally, I mean, there was some help with a mentor of mine,
Of
but
course.
I remember of course, I was a mortgage broker. I quit being a financial advisor by this point, right? I quit. I said, I can't teach this stuff anymore and stay in integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of a little bit wondering what to do with my life. I was still being a mortgage broker. I was also teaching ballroom dancing at the local university kind of on the side.
Stop right there, Chris. Stop right there. You are a ballroom dancer.
Uh-huh. Well, I should say was more of a ballroom dancer than I am today. Yeah.
Chris, you just touch a nerve. I am a dancer myself. You
Oh,
just touch a
really?
nerve. Yes, Chris, let me focus. Back to the money talk. Money is here with us. Go ahead, Chris.
So I mean, I was wondering what to do, and I remember my friend who became a mentor of mine at that time. He said, "Chris, do you like doing mortgages?" And which is a great question because he would always ask questions like this is a great question I think everybody should ask themselves is
Mhm.
if money were no longer an issue in your life, what would you spend your time doing? What
Hey,
would you do with your time?
let's
Um,
let's answer that, Chris. Let's answer that. What would you do?
yeah. What would I do? Are you asking
Uh-huh.
me? Right? What I'm
All
doing right
Rugans.
now. That's why I'm here. Because yeah, because I don't have to keep hustling for money, right? But for
Mm.
me, it was the power was and that's what I told him. I said, if I didn't have to make money, at first I said I'll vacation, and he looked at me. He said,
I'll
"Chris,
be dancing.
really?"
That's what I would do. Yes, I'll be dancing. I'll
Well,
be
no,
going.
I believe you. And actually, I said that too later because when I said to him I would vacation, he's like, "You're going to do that 52 weeks out of the year."
Yes,
I'm like, okay, maybe I wouldn't go 52 weeks. Because for me, I want to be home too for a little bit, right? Like,
home is
like you're
where the
doing the
heart
50
is,
50.
Chris. Home is where the heart is, Chris.
So he's like, other than just going on vacation, what else would you do? And I said, I would teach dancing. Yep. So I said the same thing. I was like, I
Yeah.
would teach dancing. He said,
Yes.
why not do that? He's like, you didn't say anything about mortgages. You didn't say anything about doing that. I said, well, I'm like, you're right. Like I love teaching people about,
Hmm.
some things they can do, creative things they can do with the mortgage,
Hmm.
but I really don't like doing the paperwork. I actually despise it. I hate it. He said, Chris, why don't you find somebody who will do that? Someone who does excel at that area and actually likes doing
That's
it.
right.
And I
That's
said,
right. Stop frustrating yourself, Chris.
yeah. I was like, wait, that person can't exist. No, no, there's no nerd out there that would love to do paperwork. He said, Chris, trust me, there are. And he was right. I actually went to that broker like that next day. I went to that broker and said, hey, is there somebody in the company that likes doing paperwork that I can just basically send them referrals? They do all the work for me. And he
Why
said,
not?
yes, you should talk to Clark. And so I did. I went to Clark. I said, hey, if I send people to you, you don't have to sell them. They're already
Yes.
ready to do their mortgage. You just need to
Hmm.
do it for them and
Do
do
the
the
paperwork.
underwriting. He said, yeah. I'm like, would you be willing to split 50-50? He said, yes. I said, that's a dream come true.
All it took is asking, Chris.
That's right. The value, coming back to
Ask.
value, isn't it? Valuing myself
Just
and then valuing others.
ask. And knowing what you like to do, what brings you joy.
That's right.
That's the other thing about money. What about money brings you joy? Is it in the accumulation, just hoarding the money, seeing the zeros in the bank? Is it giving, you know, building the wealth, but giving it away? Does that bring you joy?
Right.
Try it out. And I mean, I'm not saying you might have to give everything away, but how much do we really need to live on, Chris? Honestly, how much
Mhm.
could you eat in a day? How much could you vacation? How much? I mean, please give
Yep.
the damn thing away.
Yeah.
Build something. Let somebody else have purpose in their life, value in their life, feel something, and they too can pay it forward. My goodness, our conversation with money, we need to change it. We're in June 2022, Chris. We're
Yes.
in half of the year. There are some people who want to retire right now, like you did.
Mhm.
I mean, but it's not a matter of sitting down with a plan, piece of paper, and saying, okay, I want to retire at age 50. I
Mhm.
need to work my ass off until that time. No, it's the mental. It's the
Mhm.
mental.
The
And
mental,
you don't have to wait till you're 50. You don't have to wait till you're
that's right.
60. You could do it today if you want. Just like how
It's
Chris
true.
walked into that place and said, look, I need somebody to do this. Could you? 50-50. Boom,
Mhm.
shakalak.
Yeah.
Conversation over.
And that's what happened. A few months later, I realized, wait, I'm only working maybe 3-4 hours a week. Sorry, Tim Ferriss. Before you wrote the 4 hour work week, I was living it. But I was making enough money
Tim,
to survive and
Tim,
actually more than survive. I was
Tim
making
is
about
listening to
$1,000 more a
this.
month than I needed.
Tim is listening to this. Sorry, Tim Ferriss, he says. Sorry, Tim Ferriss. I was doing it before you wrote the book.
That's
Okay.
right. He's a good guy.
Oh,
We actually co-wrote a book together too. Him and me and John Lee Dumas. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool because it like you said, like I didn't think that was even possible. I thought the same thing you were just describing, which was if I work really hard, keep my expenses really low and be cheap, save everything possible, I could accumulate $2 million. Right, that was my
of
plan.
course.
by the
Yeah,
time I
yeah.
was 40 years old. But I'd
Uh-huh.
have to save and save and save, work hard, make at least a few hundred thousand or more a year, which seemed almost impossible to me at the time.
Yeah.
But I was going to have to do that. And uh,
Wow.
and that was the old belief, because I thought because I had the financial advisor belief, that traditional
Hmm.
financial belief that you accumulate this big nest egg and then you pull off 3%, right?
Of
That's it, just so you don't
course.
run out of
That's
money.
what you're told, Chris. That's what you're
That's what you're
told.
told. So
Do
not
what
true.
you're told. It doesn't work for you.
Nope. That is a long, hard, painful, and
Yeah.
often almost assured way of failure in trying to do that in your
Wow.
financial life.
So
That's why I
what
had to
you're
leave being a
saying,
financial advisor.
so what you're saying, Chris, is do the reverse. Do the reverse. Anything you're
Yep.
told, do the opposite.
Do the anti or anti, right?
Yeah,
Financial
anti or
advice.
anti. Just do the opposite. I
That's right.
remember when I was living in Jamaica, and I know we have gone a bit over time, but it's my show. So I met a guy in Jamaica and I bought his book. I can't remember his name, but he's from India. And he, as soon as when I find it, I will share it with you. And it's about the banking system. And he was like, "What the hell is going on here? You're supposed to be providing a service. You're supposed everybody's poorer than before." And he's saying, "You just do everything opposite." He actually opened a bank that is in total opposite to everything a bank does. And the
Mhm.
banking system could not believe the man was able to change basically the economy or a community of people. They were
Yeah.
doing well, businesses were open, women were,
Uh-huh.
people were living, their quality of life had improved because he did the total opposite of what the banking system does. Now, of course, you're creating ripples like you're creating
That's right.
ripples in the system. Okay, you throw a little stone in the water, it's going to cause problems for some people. Don't create ripples. Don't do it, Chris. Follow what the people say. But then you live an unhappy, probably unhealthy, mentally unhealthy, and physically unhealthy life because the stress, the worry, the concern, as opposed to us, where we're dancing our way through life, enjoying life, and just allowing money because of our change in mindset to do what it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chris, oh my God, money ripples. Let me go to money ripples at this point in time. You keep talking, share your tips while I try to find the website here.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Like, do the opposite. I think back to a Seinfeld episode where it was called Opposite George. George Costanza, as we know, if you've ever watched the show Seinfeld, is not a winner. He has a hard time. And there's a point where they point out to him and said, listen, George, if every decision you made is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right. And
That
so
makes
for that one
sense.
episode, he started doing the opposite, and he actually started winning. He got the girl of his dreams. He got his dream job. Everything was going well for him because he chose the opposite.
If we didn't say anything that made sense before, that made sense. Because so from now on, today is what? What is the date today, Chris?
Today is the 14th.
The 14th of June. We smack in the middle of June. As of today, it's opposite day for everyone. That's a tip going forward. Opposite day every day for the rest of your life. Opposite day. Just do the opposite because we already know what we have been doing that wasn't working for us or isn't working for us. Why are we still pushing the same thing with the hope that it works? And they call that madness, Chris. If you keep doing the same thing over and
That's
over,
right.
hoping that it will change, that's madness. So you have two choices. You either decide to continue to be mad or you do the opposite day. And
Yep.
most likely you will win.
That's right.
Correct,
It's
Chris?
true. Very true.
Your website is on the screen. Guide us here. What are you giving away? What would you like us to pay attention to? How can people connect with you?
Yeah, on this website, there's lots of great things you can do, but I would just focus on two. If you're the kind of person where you say, "Hey, I've been building up savings, but I don't know what to do with it. How do I get that pay me?"
Mm-hmm.
Right there, you can see it there. It says, "Try our passive income calculator now." You can
Yeah.
actually put in just a few numbers, and by answering a few questions, you'll actually be able to find out pretty close to exactly what I would come up with if I were to analyze your situation, how much
Mm-hmm.
passive income you could create in the next 12 months. We get some people, it may only be a few $1,000 over the next year that they could add, which is still good.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some people put numbers in, and then we've verified it, and sometimes it's like over $500,000. It's crazy. What's
Wow.
possible when you get your money out of prison, get it to work for you, just like flow, right? Cash flow. It's got to
Mm,
flow to create life. Blood flow creates life. Water flow
mm.
creates life.
Oh,
Cash
yes.
flow creates life as well. You need
Mm.
that too. So I would definitely check out that calculator.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you feel like you're paycheck to paycheck, there's a free ebook called Beyond Rice and Beans
Where do I
that you can
get
download for
that?
free. That's back on the main homepage. You can
Oh,
find
let
the
me go
Beyond Rice and
back.
Beans book. Hmm.
Where do I go?
Yeah, you got to scroll down a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, oh no, that's it. That's my podcast. Oh, you know what? They might have taken off temporarily. So,
Oh.
well, it will be there. It will be there
Mm-hmm.
here pretty quick.
All right.
But there is a free ebook you can download, normally called Beyond Rice and Beans. You should see on there.
Nice. And I see you have some courses as well.
Yeah, we do. We have like a Wealth Accelerator Academy, which is great for those that are getting started, want to know how to improve their cash flow, how to find cash if they feel like they're paycheck to paycheck and they want to be able to get beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a great way to do that. It also teaches you kind of the essential stuff to really learn how to generate passive income. When I
Mm-hmm.
say passive income, I don't mean like some people call passive income, which is, where they go and they create a brand new business that pays them money. This
Mm-hmm.
is stuff where you can get your money to work for you. You're not working for it. You can still do whatever job or business you're doing, but then you have your money working, whether it's in real estate. We have a lot of things with real estate investing, things with, lending where you become the bank. There's all kinds of things you do there. There's even things in oil and gas. As you've seen gas prices go up, you can actually
Mm-hmm.
benefit from oil and gas, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of different investments you can do that are not offered by financial advisors. And we help kind of train you about what those are. And if you're actually one of our one-on-one clients, we even connect you with people that we've vetted, that have been, paying out. People have a great track record, make sure that they pay our investors really well over the years. And most of the time people get paid at least 10+% a year. So
Wow.
if you had $100,000, you could be generating 10,000 a year of passive income doing nothing.
So it's like making money in your sleep. When you're sleeping, you're making
Exactly.
money.
That's
Ah,
right.
isn't that awesome? Yeah, a lot of people talk about having at least what, seven streams of income. But don't
Yes.
don't overwhelm your mind with that. Start with one, get good at one, and then, you know, build, keep adding, looking for other ways to add. Yeah.
Yep. There's
Okay.
active streams and then there's passive streams. And passive streams, if they're really passive, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
require you to use a lot of mental energy, if any at all.
Mm-hmm.
Initially going in, it's easy, but it's getting your money to work for you. So again, you don't have to keep working for it.
Yeah, yeah. And that is the thing. We don't want to be working for money, Chris. So we need to take that out of our vocabulary. We're not working for money. Money is supposed to work for me. And I think if
Right.
you keep saying that throughout the day, I am not working for money. Money needs to work for me. Or you just take out that first part. Money needs to work for me. Money has to work for me. Just
Right.
keep
Pull out that
saying
dollar
that.
bill and just say it to it, right? You work for
Right?
me now.
You work. I like that. You work for me now. Okay, here's your job description.
Yep. I'm your boss.
I'm the That's right. I'm the boss. You work for me now. Okay, you
Yep.
come in at this time and you never leave. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Chris. This has been wonderful. This has
Same
been
here.
wonderful. And to all the people listening on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or wherever you would catch this, please connect with Chris. Or if you can't find him, you can connect through me to get to him. Okay. Ask your questions. Feel free. I mean, even if you're not watching this live and you jump on after, feel free to leave your questions, comments, and Chris is going to see it and be able to respond. Yeah. It's not
Yep.
a done deal because we're here to have money work for us. Money working for me now. That's the conversation. You work for me now. I like
That's
that.
right.
I like that. Thank you so much, Chris, for being on Between the Lines. Any final words before you go?
I'll go back to what I opened with, which is it's you have hope. There is possibility. Start asking those questions rather than making the statements of limitation, but create a possibility through your questions. And just know it could actually be a lot easier than you think it is. It just requires, as you said, a different way of thinking.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Chris, for being on Between the Lines.
It's been such an